My brothers and sisters, have you ever wondered why some people never value the respect you show them? You speak kindly, you treat them well, you go out of your way to be good, yet they respond with pride or coldness, and you start to ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Let me tell you something very important today. You did nothing wrong. Because in this world, respect is not for everyone. Islam teaches us to be humble and polite, but it never asks us to lower ourselves for those who look down on others. Respect is not something we give away blindly. It is something that must be earned through character, honesty, and sincerity. So today, let's talk about what true respect means and why it's time we stop giving it to those who don't deserve it. Respect begins with understanding who you are in the eyes of Allah. Every human being is honored by their Creator. Allah Almighty says in the Quran, "Indeed, we have honored the children of Adam." Surah Al-Isra 1770. That means before the world ever gave you a title, before anyone praised or criticized you, Allah had already granted you honor and dignity. This is not the kind of respect that people can give or take away. Self-respect in Islam is tied to dignity, which is a form of worship. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, carried himself with humility and grace, yet no one could ever accuse him of being weak or desperate for approval. He was kind but firm. He forgave but never humiliated himself before those who wronged him. There is a beautiful balance in Islam between humility and dignity. Humility means lowering yourself before Allah, knowing that you are His servant. Dignity means not lowering yourself before people in ways that strip away your self-worth. The Prophet, peace be upon him, taught that a believer does not humiliate himself. You can serve others, you can be generous, and you can forgive, but you must never surrender your honor. Many people struggle with self-respect because they confuse it with being selfish or proud. But self-respect is actually an act of gratitude to Allah. When you respect yourself, you are acknowledging the gift of your soul, your mind, and your body that Allah entrusted to you. You take care of yourself, you speak with kindness, you dress with modesty, and you act with integrity because you know you are representing your Creator. Even in disagreement, a person who respects themselves speaks with calm and restraint. They do not lower their character to win arguments. So my brothers and sisters, remember that self-respect is not pride, it is light. It is the awareness that Allah honored you, so you will not let the world dishonor you. It is the understanding that you can be kind without being weak, forgiving without being foolish, and humble without being invisible. Never measure your worth by how people treat you. Sometimes Allah allows disrespect from others to remind you to turn back to Him for validation, not to them. He wants you to rise above it, not sink into it. Respect yourself, not because the world demands it, but because Allah has already declared you worthy of it. Walk with dignity, speak with sincerity, and live with integrity. When you hold on to that, no one can take your honor away because it was never in their hands to begin with. My brothers and sisters, one of the most misunderstood ideas in our lives today is respect. Many people believe that because of their position, their wealth, their knowledge, or even their age, they automatically deserve respect. They walk into a room expecting others to treat them as someone special, yet they forget that true respect cannot be demanded. It must be earned. Islam teaches us that respect is built through character, not status. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "None of you truly believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself." This hadith reminds us that respect grows from sincerity, empathy, and fairness. You cannot force someone to respect you simply by raising your voice, showing authority, or using titles. People respect you when they see truthfulness in your actions and humility in your heart. When you look at the life of the Prophet, peace be upon him, you see that he never demanded respect from anyone. Yet every companion respected him more deeply than they respected anyone else. Why? Because he earned it through mercy, justice, and sincerity. Respect is also closely tied to justice. You cannot claim to be respected if you are unfair, when you deal honestly with others, when you give everyone their right without favoritism. People will naturally hold you in high regard. The Prophet, peace be upon him, was respected by Muslims and non-Muslims alike because they saw his fairness in every decision. Even his enemies called him Al-Amin, the trustworthy one, long before he became a prophet. That respect was earned through years of honesty. Sometimes people try to demand respect by showing anger or superiority. They think raising their voice or controlling others will make them respected. But the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The strong person is not the one who can overpower others, but the one who can control himself when angry." True strength lies in self-control, and true respect is given to those who remain calm and composed, not those who lose their temper. In family life, this lesson is especially important. Parents must model the respect they wish to see in their children. When children grow up watching kindness, justice, and patience, they naturally learn to respect their parents. Similarly, when spouses treat each other with compassion and understanding, mutual respect grows stronger with time. Respect cannot survive in a home filled with shouting, belittling, or neglect. It thrives in an atmosphere of mercy and sincerity. Earning respect also means keeping your promises and being consistent in your values. When your words match your actions, people trust you. When you stand by by what is right even when it's unpopular. People admire your courage. That is why respect and credibility go hand in hand. If a person says one thing and does another, their respect quickly fades. So my brothers and sisters, do not chase respect, build it. Do not demand it, deserve it. Live in such a way that even if people do not like you, they cannot deny your honesty, your patience, and your good manners. The most respected people are not those who have the most followers or the loudest voices. They are those who carry themselves with humility, treat others with fairness, and fear Allah in every interaction. When your goal is to please Allah, He places your respect in the hearts of others, even in the hearts of those who once doubted you. Remember this, the people who demand respect often lose it, and those who quietly earn it never have to ask for it. So be the person whose character speaks louder than their words, whose integrity commands respect without ever seeking it. That is the respect that lasts, the respect that Allah Himself honors. One of the greatest misunderstandings we face in this world is when people mistake kindness for weakness. When you choose to be gentle, patient, and forgiving, there will always be those who think you are naive or afraid to stand up for yourself. They assume that because you remain calm, you have no strength. But in truth, it takes far more courage to remain patient than to react in anger. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was the perfect example of strength through kindness. He was never harsh or cruel, even toward those who insulted him or tried to harm him. His gentleness was not a sign of fear or weakness. It was a reflection of his deep confidence, self-control, and trust in Allah. When he entered Makkah as a victorious leader, after years of persecution, he could have taken revenge on those who had wronged him. But instead, he forgave them. He said, "Go, for you are free." That was not weakness, that was power. Power of the soul, power over the ego, power born from faith. True strength is not measured by how loudly you shout or how hard you strike back. It is measured by how well you control yourself when you have every reason to lose control. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The strong person is not the one who can overpower others, but the one who can control himself when angry." This hadith teaches us that emotional discipline is one of the highest forms of strength. Anyone can react impulsively, but it takes character to stay composed. Islam does not ask you to stay silent when you are being oppressed or disrespected. The Quran teaches us balance. Allah does not love the oppressors, but He loves those who are just. You can forgive without accepting abuse. You can remain polite while setting clear boundaries. You can choose peace without surrendering your self-respect. Sometimes people think that standing up for themselves means shouting or becoming harsh. But firmness does not require anger. You can be calm and still be strong. You can say no without losing your manners. The Prophet, peace be upon him, never tolerated injustice, but he also never allowed anger to control him. When someone tried to harm him, he responded with wisdom. When someone insulted him, he either smiled or stayed silent. That silence was not weakness, it was dignity. When people disrespect you, remember that you do not have to attend every argument you are invited to. Not every insult deserves a reaction. Sometimes ignoring ignorance is the greatest form of strength. The Quran describes the true servants of the Most Merciful as those who, when the ignorant address them, they say words of peace. Surah Al-Furqan 25:63. This means they do not lower themselves to respond with the same bad behavior. They walk away with honor. Kindness also requires inner strength because it challenges your ego. The ego wants to win every argument, to have the last word, to make others feel small. But the believer's heart seeks peace, not victory. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "I guarantee a house in the surroundings of paradise for a man who avoids quarreling even if he is in the right." This shows that walking away from conflict is not cowardice, it is wisdom and faith. There will be times in life when your kindness is taken for granted. People may use your good nature and you may feel hurt or disrespected. When that happens, do not let it change your character. Continue being kind, but learn to be wise. Forgive people, but don't always give them the same access to hurt you again. The Prophet, peace be upon him, forgave, but he also made careful judgments about whom he trusted. Forgiveness does not mean you must forget every lesson. Kindness also extends to how you speak. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "A good word is charity." Sometimes one gentle word can soften a heart that anger would only harden. When you speak kindly to others, even when they are harsh, you reflect the light of your faith. You show them that Islam is not about reacting, but about responding with wisdom. We should also remember that being firm is part of kindness. A teacher corrects a student, not out of pride, but out of care. A parent disciplines a child, not to hurt them, but to guide them. Likewise, a believer must sometimes be firm in the truth, even if it upsets others. This firmness is not cruelty, it is mercy. When you stand for justice, you are protecting others from harm. That too is kindness. In our time, people often think being kind makes you easy to manipulate, but the reality is the opposite. A kind person with self-respect cannot be controlled because their actions are guided by principle, not emotion. They know when to speak and when to remain silent. They know when to forgive and when to walk away. They do not act out of fear or anger, but out of clarity and purpose. My brothers and sisters, never be ashamed of your kindness. The world may see it as weakness, but Allah sees it as strength. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, gentleness is not found in anything except that it beautifies it. And it is not removed from anything except that it makes it ugly. Your gentleness beautifies your faith. It makes you a source of peace in a world filled with anger. So continue to be kind, but never confuse it with being weak. Continue to forgive, but never let yourself be humiliated. Be merciful, but also be wise. Hold your head high with humility and self-respect. Because when your kindness comes from strength and your strength comes from faith, no one can take away your dignity. Not with words, not with anger, not with disrespect. And remember this always, Allah sees your patience, He knows your intentions, and He will honor you for every act of kindness that others misunderstood. My brothers and sisters, this is a difficult truth to accept, but one that every believer must understand if they wish to live with dignity and peace. Not everyone deserves your respect. Islam is a religion of mercy, forgiveness, and good manners, yes, but it is also a religion of wisdom, balance, and self-respect. There is a difference between being respectful and being naive. Respect is noble when it is directed toward those who value it, but when it is given to those who mock it, it loses its meaning. Allah Almighty tells us in the Quran, and when you see those who engage in offensive discourse concerning our verses, then turn away from them until they enter into another conversation. Surah Al-An'am 6:68. This verse teaches us that walking away from people who are disrespectful is not arrogance. It is obedience to Allah. You are not required to stay among those who belittle what is sacred, who insult your beliefs, or who speak with arrogance and mockery. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, himself faced disrespect and hatred from those who did not believe in him. He was insulted, mocked, and accused of falsehood. Yet, how did he respond? With patience and wisdom. He did not sit and argue endlessly with people who had no intention of understanding the truth. He spoke calmly, gave his message clearly, and when they persisted in arrogance, he turned away with dignity. This teaches us that not every battle is worth fighting and not every person is worth confronting. Respect in Islam is something earned through good character, honesty, and humility. If someone lacks those qualities, if they are consistently unjust, rude, or cruel, they do not deserve the same level of respect as a person of integrity. This does not mean you should hate them or wish them harm, but it does mean you should not lower yourself to win their approval or tolerate their abuse. My brothers and sisters, may Allah grant us hearts full of humility, tongues that speak kindly, and souls that stay dignified no matter what we face. May He make us people who respect ourselves, respect others, and above all respect Him by obeying His commands. And remember, respect is not for everyone, but dignity is for you. Keep it, live by it, and never lose it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.